If you guys don't know, ZERO SIEVERT Early Access is starting today, so this is pretty exciting. If you've never heard of the game, it's an absolutely amazing pixel art top-down shooter set in a post-apocalyptic universe somewhere between Stalker and Tarkov, let's say. I did a quick video covering everything about the game before, so if you want to check it out, it's gonna be right here. But today, to celebrate the early release, I wanted to make a quick guide on how to survive and thrive in the game, because ZERO SIEVERT is a pretty difficult and unforgiving game. You're gonna die a lot and you're gonna have to learn from your mistakes. So to help you a little bit, here's a list of tips and advice, starting with the most beginner-friendly and obvious stuff first, and moving down the list, we're gonna talk about more advanced stuff for more experienced players. And please take 2 minutes, and I swear it only takes 2 minutes, to quickly read the tutorial. It got like all the information you need to get started on inventory management, like the ballistics, the weapon system, the medicine, absolutely everything. Like, you're gonna probably miss a lot of things if you don't check out the tutorial, so always start with this. Okay, let's get started. As soon as you get into a new map, the first thing you should do is check the extraction points and plan your route accordingly. You can use markers to keep you oriented if you need to. This is especially true early game because you won't be able to fight and survive for long, and your carry weight will be very limited, so you should aim for 1-2 points of interest max and leave. Don't be greedy and start with smaller raids. The best starting loadout, in my opinion, is the Mosin with the PU scope. You can walk around slowly, aiming with your gun to increase your field of view and spot enemies way before they see you, and simply pull out your sniper and pretty much kill everything without taking any damage. And you can pay a visit to Igor very early too and kill him to have a fully decked Mosin with silencer, which is kinda OP early game. If you choose the sniper and stealth specialization later on, you're pretty much gonna one-shot everything. I don't think it's the most interesting way to play the game, but it's definitely the easiest. If you have any doubts of what you're supposed to do in a mission, you can always check your PDA, it's gonna list all the details and all the objectives. It's also gonna track all the items you need if it's a fetch mission. Speaking of tracking items, you should check out and find out which modules you are interested early and track the items you need to craft them, because some are hard to get by to, and you will regret it when you realize you sold them or didn't pick them up and now you need them to craft the module you want. Opinions on which modules are the best are of course gonna vary depending from players to players and depending on your playstyle too. I personally love to have the recycling center and the workshop first, because it lets you repair armors and weapons for free, pretty much, and have a ton of resources to do so. Ammo producer is very good too and follows the same idea. Ammo is expensive and you can craft pretty much anything you need with this module. My pick after that is generally the shooting range. You cannot go wrong with extra damage, especially if you play with snipers, it's gonna help you one-shot people even easier. To be fair, every module gives interesting bonuses, so it really depends on your playstyle and what you want in the end. You cannot really go wrong anyways. The only one you shouldn't pick and craft is of course the storage one, at least early game, because you're gonna get it very often as mission rewards. Don't forget to unload all the weapons to get the ammo if you plan on selling them or scrapping them, because it's gonna get lost if you don't do it. When you get a brand new weapon and you have the right type of ammo in your inventory and it refuses to reload, simply press Y to cycle through the ammo. It might just mean that the default ammo is not the one you have in your inventory and that's why it refuses to reload. It got me very confused at the beginning. After a big fight, if you kind of forgot where all the bodies are or they are hidden in the grass, you can just wait for the birds to come. They're a very easy way to spot the bodies that you're not seeing. After a couple missions for the bartender, you're gonna have access to the Green Army bunker, so check it out early because they give a ton of good missions, that's gonna help you progress a lot. And speaking of the Green Army, you're gonna find some of their outposts on maps, especially the makeshift camp, very often, so don't shoot on sight, you can visit them pretty safely and get some good and free loot that way. And speaking of free loot, listening to distant gunshot and fighting and going slowly to pick up the scrap is actually a very good way to get gear at the beginning, so yeah, let people kill each other and just pick up the rest. It's actually a very good way to get good loot early game by visiting harder maps that you're not really supposed to be able to do yet, but by just letting people kill themselves you can get very decent loot this way. Just need to extract alive, pretty much. If you need anything related to electronics for a mission, you should definitely go to the radio tower. It's the easiest and best place early game to find anything related to electronics. It's also a very good way to make money, because you find very expensive parts there. And you will notice that traders run out of money pretty quickly, which can be a little bit annoying when you have like a lot of things to sell to them coming back from a raid. One thing I like to do is save all the small items that have a high value, so I can bring them with me every time I have to make a big purchase. It lets you pretty much get back all the money you just gave to the trader, and it's a good way to avoid the low money limits that the traders have. Because selling all this, for example, would have taken days if I had to wait for the inventory of traders to restock. Mr. Junk, as his name implies, has a lot of junk to sell, but it can be very useful for some items that you have a hard time to find and for scrap too. So always visit him to make sure he has nothing interesting for you. When you reach full experience in any of these categories, don't forget to pick a specialization, so you can keep gaining experience and improving. All the specializations are very good and pretty interesting, so just pick whatever you think fits the best your gameplay and your way you play the game. Same as the modules, you cannot really go wrong with them, and it's really gonna depend on what you like, and the bartender can respect the points if you need to. Try to pick the skill books you get as mission rewards that fit the modules you have installed. For example, if you want to be able to craft ammo early and you have the ammo crafting module installed, you should only pick the gunsmithing books first until you have your skills maxed out. Same thing for medicine or for cooking. Instead of picking a little bit of everything, you should prioritize what you want to do first, especially because there's specialization at the end of the tree too. Okay, that's all the things I can think of out of my head right now. I think we got a good overview of a little bit of everything. If you have other good tips or advice, please share them in the comments. The game is still in early access, so we still have a lot of things to discover and learn, so please share with everybody your knowledge pretty much. And if you have any doubts, let me say it again, the game, even though it's in early access right now, is absolutely amazing and has already a ton of content available. You have like dozens of hours of gameplay in front of you, and it's actually a really good and fun game. I highly recommend it. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you around, guys.